Fort Dobbs is the only state historic site associated with the French and Indian War, also known as the 7-Year War. It has been said that this site represents North Carolina's link with a global war which crossed 5 continents, lasted nearly a decade, and sowed the seeds for American independence. However, this fort is also associated with a much lesser-known war known as the Anglo-Cherokee War. Situated in the Piedmont region of North Carolina, near the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, Fort Dobbs Historic Site provides a window into the tumultuous period when settlers would have to flee their homes in order to seek safety, sometimes even in the dark of night, fearing to make a sound. Fort Dobbs' primary structure was a 3-story block house with log walls surrounded by a shallow ditch, which by 1759 was surrounded by a palisade. The fort was named in honor of Arthur Dobbs, the royal governor of North Carolina from 1755 to 1765, as he played a role in designing the fort and authorizing its construction. As mentioned previously, the French and Indian War, as well as the Anglo-Cherokee War that came from it, are significant not only to North Carolina, but worldwide. The French and Indian War in Europe set the stage for the British and the French to determine their empires in the second half of the 18th century. Originally, the fort was built to protect the people from the Shawnee, as the Cherokees were our allies. However, over time, that would change. Once the war began, it proved to be incredibly destructive for the Cherokee people. The Cherokee at the time of the conflict were not only living in the mountains of North Carolina, but in Georgia, South Carolina, and certainly Tennessee. In the military campaigns that the British and colonial troops ended up launching against them, Cherokee ended up losing 23 of their villages, causing widespread starvation and evacuation. Notably, this fort is a stop for Daniel Boone fanatics, as it is part of the Daniel Boone Trail. This is because it's believed that the Boone family took refuge here. However, it should be understood that many people came here for this, even if they had to travel very far distances, as Fort Dobbs was the only permanent frontier provisional fort in the colony of North Carolina. In addition to being a safe haven for settlers, the fort also served as a military headquarters for the frontier company of approximately 50 men. During the fort's use, it was attacked on the night of February 27th of 1760, after which a dispatch to Governor Dobbs read, "We had not marched 300 yards from the fort when we were attacked by at least 60 or 70 Indians. We received the Indian fire. When I perceived they had almost all fired, I ordered my party to fire, which we did, not further than 12 steps each, loaded with a bullet and 7 buckshot. They had nothing to cover them as they were advancing, either to tomahawk or make us prisoners. The Indians were soon repulsed, with, I'm sure, a considerable loss. From what I myself saw, as well as those I can confide in, they could not have less than 10 or 12 killed and wounded. On my side, I had 2 men wounded, one of whom I am afraid will die as he is scalped. The other is in a way of recovery, and one boy killed near the fort." By the end of 1761, the British had essentially won the war, and only 30 troops remained at the fort. Later, colonial leaders disbanded the troops and removed all the supplies of the garrison. This is because the settlement began to move far west due to westward expansion. The neglected fort was then left to rot, and by the time of the American Revolution, it was described as rotting and collapsing. Then, in 1967, excavation began, and after much research, by 2019, a full-scale reconstruction of the fort blockhouse was built on the original site and furnished. In addition to the fort, the site also offers a covered shelter with picnic tables, restrooms, a small playground, a 1.5-mile nature trail, and a 19th century log cabin which was donated by the local Dar in the 40s, and today is a gift shop which houses some of the artifacts and is where you sign up for a tour. I hope this video influences you to learn more about our history. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, and as always, thanks for watching.